Good evening. Good evening. I'm going to start the meeting now as it's just gone past 7:30. Councillor Mike Johnston chairing the Planning Advisory Group. So we're only giving advice. North Somerset Council do the decision making. So on my left, Councillor Roger, Tim, Mariam and Jenny, and Deputy Clerk Sharon. Fine. So apologies for absence. I believe we have apologies from Councillors Cartwright and Dowling. Declarations of councillors. Oh yes. Can I have member Jenny opposed? Roger. Yes, we're all authorising it. Declaration of councillors' interests. Starting with you, Jenny.
No, none that I'm aware of.
None
that I'm aware of. None that I'm aware of.
I have one, which is in relation to the application 1922 8 Bruton Avenue. I am acquainted with the owner of the adjoining property.
Okay, are you gonna?
I will abstain from any vote on that.
Makes sense, yeah.
Okay, to receive the chairman's report, Parish Council's Airport Association. The next meeting is 21st of November. Councillor Dowling is normally the rep for that. We hope that by then he'll be able to attend. For 2, the National Grid Hinkley Connection Project update, approaching final stages of construction. And I'm sure those of you passing along Sheepway will have noticed that that's all being put back to how it was. To ensure access for future maintenance, an application will be made to the Secretary of State to amend 2016 Development Consent Order, the DCO. They are offering a briefing. Well, yes, we might well take up the offer of attending that briefing or them attending here. So 4.3, the District Council have advised that the footway on Avon Way opposite numbers 70 to 46 will be closed for no more than 21 days with effect from the 26th of this month. Oh, last month, September, I beg your pardon, for subsidence to the steps.
I don't know whether it's reopened.
No, nor me. Okay, public participation. Would you like to speak on behalf of the Drakes Way application? If you do, please say who you are and please address us.
I'm Raju. This is my wife, Shamin. This is an application to rebuild an existing house. Probably you're familiar with from the planning statement. And we are here just in case you had any questions or clarifications, which we could clarify for you.
Can we take it that you are the owners of the said property and you are the ones that wish to redevelop the house into the passive? I believe it's your eco house, isn't it? Yes, effectively. Okay, well, as long as councillors are happy about that, I think we'll bring it up to the top of the agenda and discuss it in due course. Right, and yes, we'll open it to questions, obviously, when we come to discussing it then. Thank you. Which brings us to that very application then. So,
Doing the minutes.
oh, the minutes.
Still online, is there, Sharon? Still online?
No, there isn't.
Fine, good.
No. The minutes from the last meeting. I know a couple of you weren't here, but are we?
I'm happy to propose.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Seconder for those. Thank you, Tim. And we're in favour of the minutes being approved. Thank you, Dan.
Yep, good.
Right, so application 1910, 27 Drakes Way, proposed demolition of the existing dwelling with the subsequent erection of one new dwelling, creation of new vehicular access with hard standing and landscaping alterations to the front and rear. This is the location of the house. If you're not, you've all got it online there in front of you, have you? Okay, right, fine. So, very much a change from its existing position, and it looks very interesting. I have looked through all the application details and the drawings. Right. I think it's great, but councillors.
I had a question, and seeing as you're here, it would seem the opportune time to mention this. I mean, obviously the property is higher than the existing property by some way, and the surrounding properties, but that seems to be to incorporate a loft space with some form of full height door and balcony. And I wondered if there was any reason for that, because it seems to be designated as just loft space. And obviously you're pushing the height up. If there's no reason, maybe the height could come down a little bit, was my thoughts. But I just wondered if you had a reason for having it at that height.
Because my question, we really haven't talked about this, and my question was, because it's down as attic, I think.
Yes.
So I wondered, because it does seem to be full height, which to me an attic is something that you usually storage space, you know, under the eaves, whatever. And I thought it's probably not going to be used as an attic. It's going to be, well, what's it going to be used for? Yes, you don't have to tell us that. It's your personal. But
no, we would like to explain.
Thank you.
Looking at the two drawings,
Yeah.
as is and proposed, it's sort of calculated that it's probably going up by half a metre to a metre, but you can answer that in a moment. But it does look as though the proposed is currently lower than the existing two each side. And so in a sense, you're going up to reapportion it, but going up higher rather than lower. Which, anyway, that's just an observation on that score, but
May I?
Please do.
Explain? There are three real reasons to do that. The first really is we have an attic at the moment, and it's about this high. And when we access it, right now it's okay. We can climb the ladder and we can crawl in there and so on and so forth. But the whole point of doing this house is that we want to actually be able to live here. Well, it's our final house.
Okay.
So one of the biggest worries we had was our inability to actually safely access that attic space. So you need height. So that's the starting point. The second issue which arose, that this house went through many iterations in design. So initially it was oriented, the roof orientation was what it was earlier. But what happened then is that if you tried to go up to the attic, you would not be able to stand straight, even if you raise the roof. So it meant that the roof had to be reoriented. And the third reason for it really is that one of the issues with a passive house is that you want as much passive solar gain as possible. So in other words, you want energy from the sun, as much of it as you can get, which also means that you need extensive glazing. Now, the advantage of doing it that way is that you are able to create a lot of glazing to the south, which brings in a lot of the solar gain during the winter because the sun comes down to that level. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So one of the big things that we had to do, which made it a bit expensive, to be honest, is that we had to incorporate that space into what's called a conditioned space, so that the heat which is there in that attic because of the glazing also circulates through the house. So you get the benefit both ways, if you like. And finally, because the reason we reoriented the roof was to achieve two things. One is, of course, the head height, but the other also is that what we actually want is a net positive house. So in other words, it generates a lot more energy than it actually consumes. Now, in order to do that, you have to have a lot of solar panels. So you need a roof which generates from both sides, if you like. Otherwise, you're forced to be on a south-facing roof.
Yeah.
So when you reorient the roof, what happens, unfortunately, is that if you keep the roof inclined the same way, then it goes into deep shadow. Whereas now, if you raise it a little bit and make it shallow, if you like, then you get a lot more electricity generation. So when you kind of accumulate all of these things, you end up with a design like that. And the one side effect of that is that now it allows us, one of the problems in a passive house is that you have a lot of equipment there. You have the systems boiler, you have a big MVHR, it's called, you have got the heat pumps, you've got a whole range of equipment, and they take a lot of space. So the idea that if you have enough roof space, then quite a lot of the stuff can actually just sit over there, just out of the way. And also things like the inverters and so on, all of them sit in that space. Now, from our perspective, we really don't need that. We're just the two of us. We just expect visitors and so on and so forth. So from our perspective, it is just a much easier place to reach. Yeah, so you don't trip over things. You don't have the problems which you're having now, where you crawl and then you either hit your head or you're worried about coming down and breaking your leg, that sort of a thing. But no, the intention is, there's nothing to.
And it's noticeable online that there are comments from your neighbours all supporting this application, which is very encouraging. It's not something that you see all the time. When I last looked, there were no objections.
We have some very nice neighbours.
Yeah.
I looked a couple of hours ago, there's still nothing else.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
I think it's the 4 comments at the moment.
Any further questions, councillors?
No, I'd just say I completely understand, because we have a house that faces, it's just almost in front of you, a bit further down, and we've got solar panels, and what you say is absolutely true. I know that that's correct, and I visited a friend today in Wales whom they've just built a eco sort of house, and the sort of things you're talking about, the house has got these odd kind of bits all over the house, which is stuff that I can see would be great just to have located in one place. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was just really checking that it wasn't being made extra high for no apparent reason. That was all. But yeah, you've got good reasons for it. That seems fine to me.
Well, councillors, happy to propose this application. I think it's a great credit to Portishead what you're planning to do.
Second note?
Seconded.
There's no objection, yeah?
No objection. All in favour?
Thank you.
There you go. Obviously, we don't make the decision. The decision's made at North Somerset. We just send our advice down there.
Sorry, there was one other thing I thought was great in it, the fact that you've got a space there already in case you needed a lift. I just thought that is such planning, and just so much in there that I can see it would be suitable for people with all sorts of abilities and disabilities.
I don't know. Welcome to
It's going to
stay.
be a hard job to do, so we commend you and good luck in your journey.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully come and have a look.
You're so welcome.
You're very welcome to continue to attend if you wish, but do feel free to leave if you want. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thanks very much. Good to meet you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Right, we'll return then to 1767 9 Kings Road. We discussed this last planning meeting, proposed erection of a single-storey rear extension. It was felt by committee that further plans were required. It looked like from what we received and what we have that they were drawn up by the applicant. And
What number, reference number?
we're doing it with 9 Kings Road, 1767.
First one, please.
Yeah.
Oh,
The reasoning that it got postponed, the decision on it, was because of this fact of the missing drawing, which in my mind wasn't really necessary. But anyway, do we have comments to make on this further extension? There's a small extension at the moment and they want to extend it, and it's not really affecting any neighbours on this particular property. I don't have an objection to it.
Yeah, and I think the floor plan was only a portion of the house, wasn't it? Not the entire house, was that the one?
You're correct.
Yeah, so they gave a floor plan,
Yeah.
but they just sort of put a squiggly line and only did the back part of the house.
Yeah, hence my
But giving it further consideration, I don't think the new plans they put in show the rest of the house either.
I'll have this, I think.
But given it additional consideration, I don't see that that it's going to make any difference. So I'm happy to go with no objection.
Okay,
And I think I might be the one who kicked up the fuss last
you
time.
were. So, seconded?
Yeah,
Okay, Tim seconded it.
The proposer was Roger and then,
yeah.
or the other way around?
Yep, fine. Roger can be proposing it and Tim seconded it. And we're all in favour of no objection. All that's unanimous again. Moving on then to 1734, 16 Sorrel Gardens, erection of a single-storey rear extension of front porch. The single-storey rear extension has a green roof. And it's tucked away in Sorrel Gardens. It's a semi. And that's the plan of it. So it's got a small porch extension using the same materials which the house is currently using, with this green roof and a Velux in it, or a roof light of some description.
It didn't look like
Comments?
it had much space in the front to extend into, unless it's going on the ground, it's the front porch.
The front- the
But it's
small-
already got the door going back. I haven't objected to it. I just
Mhm.
think it looks like it's going to be a very tight squeeze anyway.
Well, as you gather, it's a fairly small house anyway, sort of starter property, I guess. Yeah, the front little porch has also got a roof light in it, isn't it? A Velux of some description. And the rear extension comes out, by the look of it, to more or less the same line as the open extension on the adjoining property. Any further comments from councillors? No? Anyone wish to make a proposal on this one, please? Tim, did you? was that-
Yeah, no objection here.
No objection from Tim, seconded by Mariam. No objection, all in favour of no objection? Yeah, unanimous. All right. Despite being here earlier and getting my papers in order, they seem to have gone out of order.
Roger,
Yeah, every time he turns his back.
Right, 1715, and that's 10 Woodhill Avenue, which is the proposed removal of existing rear outbuilding and carport, erection of a two-storey side rear extension and a single-storey rear extension with landscaping alterations to the rear. This is quite large, and there are objections online from neighbours and it is in my little pack here. Someone wish to make a start on the debate on this one?
Yeah, you're right. It's quite a large extension, and there are some concerns from the neighbours. I don't think the concerns from the neighbours are insurmountable. I think that there were some comments there saying that they were happy to talk about compromises and what have you. So we could look at approving or no objection, subject to taking neighbours' issues into consideration. That might be a way forward on it. And it's quite large. And I mean, you could equally say it's too large and go for just a full objection on the grounds of overdevelopment or something like that. But I think that might be pushing it. But those are sort of the options that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, my observations are that it's not going tight to the boundary. There's still good separation between that and the neighbouring house going up the hill. It's a well-balanced design. It reapportions the house in some respects. And I'm happy to go along with wording that Roger's sort of implied.
Mike, I believe I did a street view look at these houses, and just going down the street 2 or 3 doors, there's other neighbours have done a full extension to the side as well.
So the
it's not-
precedent has already been set, yeah. And it's a fairly common thing. We've seen it on Slade
It
Road.
isn't too awkward, the shape of the
It was quite
house.
sad really, because they're like 1920s houses, but as you're going down the road, they're all starting to look like they've been built 5 years ago.
Which isn't the bad thing.
It is-
What is
It's,
it?
it's the
There's
way of the
been
world.
characters
isn't it?
lost already.
Well, yes, yes. I mean, it will probably disproportion the pair as it's a semi. But,
So, I mean, I'm happy to propose no objections subject to taking neighbours' concerns into consideration and see if that one flies, if you
What
will.
did the neighbours say?
What was it specifically that they?
Loss of light, loss of view, I think.
and the immediate neighbours are concerned about the removal of the carport, which is clearly a bit of a safety barrier in their minds. But I'm sure that the applicants will address that issue. in some way.
There's parking for 3 cars, isn't there, on the new plans?
Mm.
So there will be
I
parking
think
space for
that's-
the neighbour. They wouldn't have to worry about it if this person has a driveway now.
Division for at least 2 cars.
Yeah, I mean, again,
I guess
you,
they go for parking standards, aren't they? They have to make sure they at least hit the North Somerset parking standards on it.
it's a sad loss of another front garden, of course.
Concreted over, well, like, I don't know what it is at the moment. but-
Which we can put that into our comment if we wish. Do we have a seconder for Roger's?
Yeah.
Approval? Tim?
Yeah,
Okay.
some neighbours, yeah.
So are we in favour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. very
Do you
well.
want to just read that out a second?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So we've got observation, no objections, subject to taking the neighbours' comments into consideration of open brackets, loss of light, loss of view, removal of carport, offering a safety barrier.
Maybe just put sad notes, the sad loss of the front garden.
Okay,
Simple, so.
But as Roger says, it may be to meet
Of a
our
front garden.
standards.
Yeah, do you want us to put our hands up again, or are you?
nervous.
Where the neighbours' comments are and the link that I went on.
Yeah.
I can see these, but I can't see.
the comments.
Yeah,
You-
I can see
you
the
have to sort of-
plan.
You have to go twice on it.
You click on the,
Comments
Yeah, where your
there.
comments
Yeah.
are,
click on the one that says comments,
and then scroll
and then
down.
go down.
All I got was make a comment.
Yeah, go down further. Underneath.
Perhaps I didn't go down far enough.
No, I
No,
got.
it's nice back up on that one, isn't it? Sorry.
No, I-
Is it
That's,
not?
that's where you make a
It's
comment.
not there.
It's
That's
back,
where you make
it's
a
back at the
comment.
top. Can you bring
Is
it
that
touch
making
closer?
comment?
Yeah,
Is
have
that
it
one?
comments. As you've got comments, as you go down on
Public
that.
comments.
Public
Public
comments.
comments.
Yeah, I can't quite see it from the wrong bit.
Sharon will go through with you, your rescue later.
Done this one before.
There it is. It's
Yeah.
there.
I was looking
both got
specifically
it
for
now.
this stuff. That's
Yeah,
why, that's
I
why
got
one
it as
of,
well.
one of my no
couldn't find it.
objections says next to it, in case, no objection, if neighbours are not impacted by the,
Yeah.
because they couldn't see neighbours' comment, I'm sorry.
Not to worry. You know
I know.
next time.
I know, no.
Right, so we now move on to 1821 137 High Street, which is just past the turning for Brampton Way, heading towards Gordano. Unlike the previous one, this is fairly tight to the boundary where there are implications from the neighbour, the immediate neighbour, who has objected on the grounds of loss of light.
There we go. I didn't
Um,
think that would happen.
Yeah.
And it's a big, well, I suppose it's relatively big in terms of the extension and the impact it will have on that immediate neighbour. I have concerns over that one.
I put a note here saying it looks to me to be currently a 2-bedroom property, which raises the spectre of the neighbourhood plan again.
It is currently,
But
well, I think it's 3, isn't it? Or is that bedroom? Yeah, that's a top floor, isn't it? So that's 3 bedroom.
is that the new plan or the proposed one?
Downstairs.
No, it's the other way around. They're gonna get a
No, I think that's.
garage out of a living
think
room.
that's the-
I think.
You're right. Yes,
That's the-
because that's on top of that, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, have you got the,
No, I don't have a printer.
which one was it?
Existing and proposed site plans.
1821.
18.
It's just,
Let me just
So that's the
grab the
existing.
old plan.
so
a
it's
second.
going, it's I'd say it's doubling the footprint almost, so it's going from that to that. But it isn't going beyond the sight lines of the property to the left of it. It is going to be, it's going to block light to that house there.
I think it's overbearing on the window, isn't it, of that particular house next door?
So
Yeah.
the original first floor plan so is just there, bedroom, office.
Clearly a third bedroom,
Well,
So they're putting
not if they
garage.
mark it as office.
right?
I would say clearly it's a third bedroom if they mark it as a third bedroom. But if it's marked as an office, it probably doesn't reach standards for a bedroom. Otherwise, why would they call it office?
That's becoming a garage.
Yeah, well, I think that is.
So that leads me back to the usual argument.
Yes,
of
yes,
is
yes.
A 2-bedroom
Yes,
are going to a 3 or more, isn't it?
yes.
It's going to a 1, 2, 3, probably 4 bedroom.
3,
most
4,
of
yeah.
them. But what I don't understand is, am I reading it correctly that they're putting a garage in? Where there
Underneath.
currently is a room, it is going to become a garage. Ground floor plan. It's got garage on the right-hand side, and on the current property, there is no garage. So they're losing some living space and putting a garage in.
No, there's a void there at the moment, isn't there?
I don't,
That's on the right-hand side of the staircase.
yeah,
In the new plan, it says garage. In the old one, it says lounge.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's what I'm saying.
it looks like they're putting the garage back in.
Mhm. And I read installation of garage doors.
Because I'm assuming it was converted at some point. They put the garage back in,
That looks like a garage.
moving the
Sorry.
lounge to the diner and putting the diner further back. aren't
Yes,
they?
I beg your pardon, because I think some years ago they did just that, yes. They built over the existing garage or converted it into the lounge, yeah.
I think that was the existing garage. They built something in front of it.
My query was, is that, is
Existing
there
garage there.
access to it?
Right.
Swinging in from the road, are you going to have to drop curbs and, you're going to have to do work? You're going to make it back to be accessible as a garage. How much space is there between a garage entrance and the pavement and all those sorts
I
of?
think
It's
it looks
set
like
back.
it probably originally had a garage,
Yeah.
which has been converted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've probably got the drop curb and everything now, I would guess.
I
So
use
that-
Google Maps to look at all the outside where everybody was.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
That's
Google
really
Maps, isn't it?
helpful.
Yeah.
Are we minded to think this is conducive to as planned or too large, too overbearing for the neighbour? I'm not sure about this one,
I'm gonna raise my bedroom concern, yes.
right?
Yeah, the two bedroom,
Yeah, just that loss of a 2-bedroom home contravening Portishead neighbourhood plan policy PWH1, is that the one?
yeah, so I'm happy to do that. If you wanna say step too far in the way of size or overdevelopment or something, we could add them all up together and then make a proposal.
I think we have concerns over, I mean, you can see why they've gone on the width, because they clearly want to get their car into their garage, don't they? But so we have concerns over the proximity to the neighbouring property of this.
Look at the site plan again.
Because as you stated, it's not,
Yeah, this
Site
bit's staying here. This is already in, isn't it? It's that piece there. So it's all
yeah,
that part is the lounge, and that's already
Yeah,
up to the
and-
boundary. by
and
the
this
looks of things.
is a neighbouring property, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is there space between the boundaries? There's no access, is there, to the back of the property now? You can't get from the street to the back of the property, is that
Without going through the house, no, you
without
can't.
going through the house? Is that correct?
And there's a small gap down between the rear section of the extension and the boundary fence or wall.
So the original house comes to there and there where those dotted lines are.
Mhm.
So that's the extra that they're putting on the back of the house. And that's the proximity from the boundary there.
There we go.
And I guess the proximity from that one there.
Mhm. And they're bringing it in line with the neighbouring
Yeah.
on the other side, aren't they? And it's still back from the building line of the
Yeah.
next door. Oh, I don't know.
That's in the neighbours though.
Yeah.
That's in the neighbours. So they haven't.
I mean, this
got
gap
road
is probably
on their property.
very similar to numerous other properties around
Don't
this
think so.
place.
Yeah. Well, these gaps
Because the
aren't
terrace
changing,
house
are
is
they?
not
So they're already,
But the
they're
neighbour
not widening the
is
house, they're
that's
pushing
gonna
it
right
backwards.
out, it's
Mhm,
going to
mhm.
be
they're extending it backwards, so I guess they are what they are.
And it's about 0.5 metre, I think, isn't it, this gap here?
Yeah, but this part here is on the
It's on the boundary.
isn't it?
It's this one.
Well, apart from Roger's comment in relation to the neighbourhood plan, I now have no objection to it.
Oh, do you not?
I don't
Just to
think
show
so.
you what it looks like on the street view.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's no access to the back garden from, there's no.
It's
walkway at the
just going to be very tight, isn't it, to here?
That's where it is already, so it's going on the back,
moment. On there,
behind there.
Yeah.
it's that house
It's just-
there.
Is it going to affect the light of the garden at the back? And the
Not at the back, I wouldn't have thought, but it's gonna be the house, it's that house at the front. Oh, actually, it's gonna affect the house at the back as well.
which he comments about, doesn't he, the neighbour, about the loss of light to a bathroom or something like that?
Yeah.
Help me out here.
Well,
What are we going to
Roger's
say?
tabled a proposal,
It is,
so you need to,
yeah, it is a large extension as well. And I mean, look, when you look between that and that, you can see how much
Mhm.
extra is going on the house.
And it is no bigger than the house next door to it.
No, and they've dropped the
When you
roof.
look at-
They've
when you
dropped the
look
roof line a bit.
Plan of the house. If you look at it, the house to the left of it, it's the same footprint. They've extended the same amount. So there can't be probably any objections from the people living that side there. The objections are bound to be from this one here.
Mhm. And the fact that they've hit the roof in a different, they've angled it, haven't they? Coming out of the back, they've hipped it so that it sort of minimises the impact, I think, on the adjoining property. And it's
Did
probably
they
not
have to
unprecedented.
revise their plan? To.
How would you do it then? Well, how would
to
you
have,
revise it? What would you do to change it?
Yeah, we can
Maybe
only,
single story.
we can only look at the plan that's in front of us and
Yeah,
advise
okay.
whether we'd like to object or not object to that one.
Well, either we just object on your grounds.
Yeah, I second that.
so now you've got a call for your vote.
Vote on that then, that it's contrary to section whatever.
Objects, loss of a two-bedroom home contravening Portishead Neighbourhood Plan Policy PHW1.
But maybe no objection to the garage if they want to turn that back into a garage.
Yeah.
To give them that, no, I can't say that.
Well, no, not really.
To the whole plan, it's a no, okay.
Because this is what it is in front of us, yeah. So, anyone else wishes to support the proposal and seconder on the
So
neighbourhood plan
are
only?
we voting?
Yeah.
No, but neighbourhood plan only then.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
There we go, reluctantly, I think we feel on that one. I mean, the precedent on that sort of thing has been set all over town, isn't it?
1318, Mike. Got that one?
Yes. We think, Sharon and I, that this is retrospective. This is a loss of the front garden. And we did this little montage of the rather nice stone wall, which extends across the 6 properties coming out from the Wood Hill Road. And these 2 first properties are within the conservation zone. So in effect, section of this wall is within the conservation zone, and yet they breached this one because we think the work's already been done. I haven't been around to check because I didn't have time. So sadly, the owners of the property decided to off-street parking their car and loss of that nice stone wall.
It's 5 metres, isn't it? It's 5 metres they've taken out.
Yes.
How long is the car usually?
Lengthwise.
I was just thinking about it's going to, because at the moment, parking on the road is tricky, isn't it? There's a shortage. So actually, one way it's good because it means it's taking traffic off the road, but actually people won't be able to access it because they can't, it's
You can't park
catch
along the drive,
22.
yeah.
They can't block the drive. So if it's parking for 3 cars and they need to get 3 cars in, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make it any easier for people of Portishead to have any more parking. If you're looking at
No.
in terms of, the
You're
whole
quite right.
community, that they have
Mhm.
loss of garden, it'll increase flood, likelihood of flooding because the runoff on concrete rather than
Yep.
grass, unless they,
Yeah.
depends what they put down, whether they gravel it or whatever they do.
But-
This one's 38, is it, Beach Road?
It's 38, yes.
So it looks like number 24, 28,
And that-
30,
Yeah.
36
They've all done it.
have all done it, yes.
They've all done it. But you'll notice that this is a proposed. And if it is retrospective, then they should have put in an application for retrospective planning, but they haven't.
It alludes, isn't it, in the application, to the fact that they have started the work.
Not that it makes any difference because you still have to, if they put it in for a retrospective, they still have to assess it as if it hasn't been done. So it would have passed anyway, then it doesn't matter whether it's retrospective or not. But
So even if we object, it's unlikely North Somerset have much grounds to object either. So sad loss of front garden.
these properties are all old, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And none of them were built with drives or garages. So you can see why people want to do it. And yes, you're right, sad loss of that wall, which is slowly being eroded all the way down the road.
Yes.
Until one
yeah.
day they'll be
Well, we've
nothing
seen
left.
it in other parts of Portishead as well. And I mean, the one mitigating circumstances, of course, if they've got an electric car, they might obviously want to charge it near the house rather than have cables dragging across the pavement.
We're not allowed to, are you?
Yeah.
Not allowed to drag them across the pavement. It's a wide pavement now as well, isn't it?
So, any proposals coming from the team?
I propose no objection, and we note sad loss of another section of wall.
Yeah, and make a note of the fact that it's a retrospective application to our knowledge.
Did you second that now?
Oh, I'll second it, yes. All in favour?
Sorry. What was you thinking of the next one?
Right, 1922, 8 Bruton Avenue, certificate of lawful development of the proposed erection of a single-storey rear extension and a new side window following demolition of the existing conservatory.
It's
LDP.
no consultation one, isn't it? But you can comment if you want to.
Yes.
So there it is, if you've not already seen it. The extension is proposed to run down the length of the east of the property. But as I said, I do know the person who lives in the house behind.
So a certificate of lawful development is to say that it's within the permitted development, so they don't need to apply for planning permission. So we don't get to object to it or to say that we approve of it, but we can comment if we want to.
Okay.
And the majority of house owners do this simply so that when they come to sell the property, then they've got a lawful agreement that the works have been in accordance with planning law.
Yeah, otherwise when you come to sell a house, it takes forever because the solicitors go, oh, much paperwork.
Yeah.
Mm.
So normally we only send comments in on these if they're doing something which we think goes well beyond what a certificate of lawful
So
development
what are
should
they
be.
actually doing? What's, I've got the plan here. What's the change?
They want to put a long side extension on it. It's not particularly massive.
With the flat roof.
Conservatory?
Yeah, it's flat roofed, isn't it? I think.
Is it conservatory they're putting on?
We've got this one here. That must be the before. That
It's
must be
that
the
section
after.
through there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
So
they-
it's
so they-
removing the
So
conservatory.
we've got the conservatory there.
Oh, it's
That's
plans,
going to
no,
come out and it's going to be extended in an extension that covers the conservatory
Oh, yeah,
all the
no.
way up to the
It
edge of
comes
the
all the
building.
way along the back.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not the back, but the side, isn't
Is
it?
it
Yeah.
the side?
Mm, the east side.
Well,
It's
it's
already
also
quite
in
interesting.
front, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an extension all the way across there.
So as I said, I'm not voting on this one. Someone
I was going to say, we're not going to vote anyway if it's a certificate of lawful
Okay.
development. We're just going to
Just
put any
dressing
comments if we
area,
wish to. I've got no comments.
En suite, just adding dressing area and an en suite on the back of the bedroom.
Mhm.
Unless anyone's got any comments,
No?
No,
we'll,
okay.
we'll leave it uncommented and move on then.
Okay, we're moving on then to planning consultation, street trading, review of the policy, which closes on the 7th of this month, which is this weekend, isn't it, or thereabouts? The recommendation is to consider the review and respond with comments to North Somerset Council should you have any comments to make on the street trading, which I think,
Are we not doing Petersfield or 697?
yeah,
Road?
coming to those.
Oh, right, sorry. Sorry, you lost me for a second.
We have to vote in favour of that one then. As you
That's fine. No comments going,
observation,
is it?
no comments. No. Lake planning applications, yes. So we do have the two. 1918, which is the Petersfield Elderly Persons Home over the road, in relation to the removal of condition 24, which is the actual travel improvements to Church Road South. Of permission, blah, 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 demolition of the existing care home, which is sort of in abeyance at the moment. They withdrew it. It must have been at least a year ago when they put that in.
Didn't they got permission for it?
They have got permission, yeah.
Yeah, they got permission for it.
Did they?
They
Yeah,
got permission
otherwise,
for
because
the-
this is a discharge of
Yeah,
condition
yeah,
from
I've read it.
condition
It's
24.
That's the one you've got there.
definitely gone
That's
through.
condition
It's
24 there,
approved.
Michael. That's the one they want to
Oh,
want to
right.
remove.
I thought they withdrawn it because it was such a kind of copycat planning application in relation to all their other properties around the country. So it's within the conservation area. We wanted something a little bit more special and a bit more tailored to our local environment. Because it was very drab. It was just
It was
similar
it
to
was-
everything
it was
else.
approved, but it was approved with a load of add-on bits, wasn't it? Conditions.
Caveats.
And I think this was the last one, condition
It's
number
just there that-
24, yes.
Okay,
So there's
well,
24
Well,
other,
maybe-
or 23 other conditions on there.
I'll read it to you, which is the one in question, which is prior to the first occupation of development, a scheme for active travel improvements to Church Road South in the vicinity of the site, comprising curb realignment and a raised crossing, and to include a timetable for delivery of the works by way of Section 278 agreement shall be submitted to and approved in writing by the local planning authority. Thereafter, the scheme shall be implemented in accordance with the approved details. So basically, they want a safe crossing across Church Road South so that occupants of the dwelling can potter along the high street. What's
No,
wrong with that?
Well, no,
I-
they're asking to have that condition removed.
Yes.
From them,
On,
yeah.
on the grounds that North Somerset has already done some alterations to the pedestrian route into the high streets. And therefore they don't need to do it. And it's just North Somerset trying to make them pay money for no apparent reason.
I can't see any proposed crossing on Church Road South.
No, they North Somerset have put the stippled foot bricks in, haven't they? And it's a drop curb at either end. And the drop curb at the next one and the next one and the next one. So you
They've
get it
got
in
a
the high
very
street.
thorough independent report, which there's about, I don't know, 30 odd pages of it, to try and get it redacted, and it's a very, very evidence-based report. It's full of photographs of all the crossings, you know, the drop curves along the high street. I don't think we can object. It would be I'm not applying, you know, visual at all, but I just, having read it, it took me ages to get my head around what it actually was, because like you, I thought, oh, where's... yeah, I think they've dotted all the T's and crossed, you know, or
Cross the
all
I's.
It's like something like that.
So, I mean, listen, we've looked at it. They, I will say the planning officers, they said that they should be doing this.
Yeah.
These guys have come up with reasons why they shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
None of us know, let's be honest, whether or not we should do, who's right and who's wrong on it. So either we do nothing.
Haven't the planning officers from North Somerset Council come back and actually said it's fine? I thought there was
I
another
don't-
letter there from
I couldn't,
North Somerset Council saying
I did look for that. I
actually
couldn't find
we've
that.
we now accept that what you said is okay.
There is reference somewhere, isn't there? Yeah. To
Don't know if it was yellow.
yeah, policy DM24 seeks to ensure that new development will not prejudice highway safety or the operation of the highways network, and that the impacts of new developments are adequately mitigated.
Is that highway technical note?
I think it might be part.
Well, there is this, the site is also in close proximity to a number of bus stops with shelters and real-time information boards allowing residents to use the bus. The proposal will therefore encourage inclusive active travel in accordance with Portishead Neighbourhood Plan Policy, PPT1. So
I will say that the developers are using the arguments here against additional parking spaces on site, or use the argument against additional parking spaces on site, saying lots of their residents won't be driving cars, they'll be travelling on foot. And now they're saying, but we don't need to worry about them travelling on foot. So they're using both sides of the same argument to prove different things. That, I mean, I'd be quite happy to just turn around on this one and say we object to it based upon the North Somerset officer's assessment, and push it back to North Somerset to do.
I think my other argument on now, people driving, they can have visitors.
That
They're
is
gonna ride like hell.
exactly what, that would be my comment.
If they have,
The parking places one has sailed because that application went through. So
Sorry, I have no
This-
previous
this is
knowledge
about-
of this,
this is
yeah.
about
I
people
did look at where it is,
walking.
but it's, so, sorry, just to get clear, they have planning permission to demolish what is
Yes.
already there
And
and build 38 new
Yeah.
apartments.
yeah,
And they are requesting about 2 parking spaces a house. I saw something,
0.2, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because they're retirement apartments. If you go round,
Mhm.
well, we've got,
I understand.
oh, what's it called? God, my dad lives there. I can't remember what it's called. Pace's Court.
Okay.
If you're in Pace's Court, they've got loads of apartments in there, and if you go out in their car park, it's always half full. Because
Okay.
lots of them just don't drive, because they've got to that
Which is
age.
what we're expecting here as well.
So that's
yeah,
that's why
that's
they get
true.
away with less parking spaces.
Because I was just worried about
On
the
this type
traffic in
of
that
development.
area, if there were apartments that it's not going to be residential home, but retirement living, there's going to be a lot of people that will be driving back and forth. And I don't think we have the capacity for all of that. 38 apartments in that area of the high street. I personally wouldn't have okayed that.
Well, if it's been approved, it's.
That's why the condition was put on it, I
And
guess.
that's why I think the conditions should be strictly abided by,
Yeah.
because it's if it's a conservation area and they're going to already develop 38 apartments, I'd be really worried if a condition is being too lenient, where they.
Was it a nursing home or
Yes,
residential?
it's
Yeah.
a residential home, but one nursing.
Oh, it's a residential.
And that's why it closed, because
Okay.
we
Yeah.
need more nursing and less residential.
But also because it was built in the 1960s,
And
it probably
everyone-
leaked from
It was a
every
beautiful building.
corner, yes, it was
Yeah.
horrible.
Um,
But
I
it's
worked there
a
for a
completely
month, so it's-
profitable reason. My mum grew up in, my mum worked in care homes my whole life. And it's really a business thing that they're doing,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's not,
Because
you know, and it's really shouldn't be at the expense of our high street going down.
But equally, with my
Mm.
adult social services hats on, we need more residential properties for people to move into so they can live safely in their
100% agree with you.
latter years.
Yeah.
So they need that, and from a housing perspective, that means they move into the bigger houses, they free that up, and the whole housing market moves as well. So there are
Okay.
some real benefits to having that in there, and we're trying to get people away from nursing and
Okay.
residential and into places where they can look after themselves. So there's pros and cons to all of that, yeah.
But really want to keep the conservation guidelines and clauses in place
Yeah,
as what they
and-
were.
and I think
Well, I'm
if we
with you on that
can,
one.
if we can keep clause 24, is it?
Yeah.
In, I'd say we should try, but
Yes,
I
20.
mean, even, the officers at North Somerset, they will decide whether or not that argument's good enough, won't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, the only thing is, I mean, if they're talking about accessing public transport, they've got to cross the road to get the X5 going that way, which means trundling along to Parents' house and crossing there. And the bus stop into town is also on that side, just in that lay-by there, isn't it? So I'm really not sure quite where they're coming from on all this, apart from the pedestrian crossing across Church Road South. Anyway.
Yeah, I
They
think,
just don't want to put that in.
They
That's
don't.
what they're saying.
yeah, I think
It's 34,000
34
pounds.
grand, isn't it? Yeah.
Was
Putting a raised
20,
crossing in.
25, and it's now gone up to 34.
That if you want to be, a little bit tongue in cheek about this, North Somerset drew up a plan to make changes to the high street some time ago, which is sat in a drawer somewhere. And I think someone's gone into that drawer, looked at it and gone, oh, we can get the developer to do that. And the developers noticed that that's the case, and they've gone like, yeah, try again. So I think we leave it to North Somerset to sort out with me.
Okay,
Shall I propose that we object on the grounds of that we shouldn't be removing this clause unless the North Somerset officers are happy to do that?
Yes.
And if anyone wants to second that, we'll give it a go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Any agreement?
okay,
Not done.
right, thank you.
No, thank you, Roger. Thank you, Mike.
Right, lastly then, 1941, land to the rear of 69 South Road, erection of one dwelling, where we dealt with this a couple of months ago. Had a site meeting up there. Neighbour came to the meeting in number 16. And the comments that we made at that meeting were, we objected on the grounds that it is an inappropriate siting on the plot and overdevelopment of the site that would have a detrimental effect on the neighbour of number 1B Woodhill Park. The town council, well, yes. So what I'm proposing is that we defer this application to next month, simply so we can discuss it in full detail, because it only came in a couple of days ago.
And it took me quite a long time to get my head around it actually.
Yeah. Well, you might wish to make a site visit as well.
Yeah.
And have a look at the topography there.
It
'Cause
doesn't
it's,
help that it's actually a house on Woodhill Park, but it's referenced as
Exactly.
land to the rear of South Road, but that's because
Yeah.
it's their back garden that backs onto that
Yeah, I
one.
couldn't see it on Google
When
Maps.
when we first saw this, I was sat there for ages going, what?
Find it, I don't know.
I couldn't find. I
And it's a
couldn't see it
large
on Google.
house. It's a proposed large.
The plot of land that it's on someone's garden, isn't it? And
Yep.
it's 69 South Road.
Yeah.
And actually, I want to declare, I have a friend who lives in 65 South Road. So I know that 69 South Road is having an awful lot of work done.
Yes, that's, yeah.
And what was I going to say? I was interested to know, is that house being built for sale, or is it being built because the people that own the land are going to move into it? Not that it makes any difference in planning terms,
I don't
but
know.
I just didn't know. It's for sale. Is it for
So-
sale?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Are we happy to defer it?
Yeah, I have.
So
I
plan
don't-
extension.
I mean,
Plan extension.
Yes.
I'm assuming this is a different plan to the one that we had. They
I
haven't
don't
just
think it is.
resubmitted the same one.
I think it is a
So I
resubmission.
think
yeah.
they've resubmitted the same plan, so yeah, we need to have time to look at both plans and see if there are any actual changes.
Yeah.
And obviously the neighbours need time
Yeah.
to put their comments on, because this has only been on a couple of days, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
so yeah, happy to second your
Okay.
deferral.
We'll do
Chairman,
that.
can I just check, with regards to the street trading review, what you wanted to do with that? I didn't quite catch. You said about voting, but I didn't quite catch.
Well,
Otherwise,
to review anything in relation to it is a bit short of time now, isn't it? If it closes on
Time
the
it's come.
7th.
It was deferred from last month.
What's the essence of it? Because I looked at it and I didn't really pick up straight away what it is about, what it's really about.
Aims to provide clear guidance to applicants, supports local businesses and events, and ensures that trading is
To make sure it's aligned with the legislative
trading
updates.
proposals are safe and suitable.
Current street trading policy has been in place since 2019, but due for revision to incorporate recent legislative changes and best practice guidance. Moving forward in line with other license policies, this document will be known as the Statement of Principles. So
Okay.
it sounds as though they're bringing it in line with current legislation.
I confess I've not read it. 4 days left. Can I leave it to yourselves to make any comments if you wish to do so?
Which number is it, like, sorry, Chairman?
It's not.
Um,
It's on the, there's a
Yes,
link on the agenda.
It's just agenda item.
8.
Okay,
So
and
we
the,
have to read it now to make a decision.
and the first question is, to what extent do you agree or disagree with the following statements? Number one, the proposed SOP is easy to read and understand. So unless you've read it, you're not going to be able to answer the consultation.
Please do.
So normally, on consultations, there's always an officer assigned to it. So you don't necessarily have to go through the whole questionnaire if you just wanted to make a comment that you're happy for it to be updated in line with legislation.
Can we make that
Yeah,
statement,
and then-
please?
and
We're
then-
happy, as a committee, we're happy to
Yeah,
go along with
there's
the
only
proposed
23
changes.
pages to it. If you want to read them, there's only 23 pages. There's no pictures though, so it's all writing.
I'm sure we're all happy to,
So no objection,
Leave
provided
it.
it's succinct with
Yes.
state legislation, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, which is my understanding of what it was last time we saw it at North Somerset. They explained that to me as just
Oh, well,
updating for the
yeah.
legislation.
Everyone happy with that? Yes, I think we are.
Yeah? Yeah.
Okay, fine, thank you very much. So we therefore, we'll continue on to agenda item 10, which is the late applications and TPOs and such like. And then 10.2, which is the list of
Decision.
decisions that have been made by the district. And then lastly, that's it. We shall close the meeting.
Did you want to know about the parish council?
Oh, yeah, there's that, isn't there?
Association.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I was going to say, I'd like us to just note that the Pullshead branch line application was withdrawn by the applicants,
One of two.
which I thought was strange.
No.
No, I just think we should note that in our minds that the applicant withdrew that for some reason. Hopefully it wasn't because of some sort of decision that was made in government, but who knows?
But it was one of two at that month,
Yeah,
and the other one was
maybe-
approved. So it's a
maybe
bit-
maybe they just decided that they needed to make some changes and it'll come back to us. Who knows?
Are you looking, Sharon?
No,
Oh,
do you want me to?
oh, well, no, not unless, you know.
I don't think we'll find out why.
Forester Road was lawful.
We could ask.
What did you say,
Want to ask?
Yeah, that's not.
Right to the map.
Said in your Somerset and Bristol.
Yes, please.
Partial discharge, requirement 14.
I shall just read out then, the Parish Council Airport Association has advised that it has sent further comments, objections to North Somerset Council in respect to the planning application 2185, which was construction of new office campus. Which I'm not aware of office campuses on the airport site, but anyway, there we go. So I'm going to close the meeting at 8:30.
Meeting on the 6th of November. Yeah.
6th of November, yes. Thank you very much.